So, this is today's newspaper. How to read the newspaper efficiently and what to extract out of it. So, this article is about the AFSPA imposed in Manipur because the situation has gone bad again recently, and the commentary is just about that. Here, there's a small box talking about AFSPA. Return of AFSPA provides immunity to the armed forces, indicates that the situation in Manipur has not improved. So AFSPA is Armed Forces Special Powers Act that provides immunity to the personnel of the armed forces um, from prosecution for the methods they adapt to tackle terrorists, for anything they do in duty, basically. So that's a kind of a license to kill, right? So there's a lot of opposition to AFSPA and such powers to the armed forces. So, and there have been questions asked on AFSPA. CRPF camp attackers missed vehicle with LMG, died in hail of gunfire. Yeah, we have seen these. This has again happened in Manipur. These are details about the attack. So this is a political comment, and here's an investigation which can be used in perhaps ethics and also governance. And you should remember this, that most of these jobs in UP for some exam have been going to kin of VVIP, and there has been some data established uh, by the investigation. So Tulsi Gabbard is a right-wing ideologue who is now the US Intel chief. And Donald Trump has been elected again. He has been selecting his executive, his staff. So this is again another accident, and this is about air quality in Delhi. So currently, air quality has been declared severe, and that means it is above 400 mark. What is this 400 mark? It's a measure of the severity, the presence of particulate matter and pollutants in the air. So within that scale, if you cross the 400 mark, it is categorized as severe, and this is particularly the case in Delhi. So graded response action plan stage 3 has been activated by this commission for air quality and management in NCR and adjoining areas. So it is commission for air quality and management where NCR and adjoining areas. So what happens, um, so what's the deal with the CAQM, Committee for Air Quality Management in NCR and adjoining areas? The thing is, there's some powers are distributed to local authorities and some are to state authorities. So managing the air quality in an area is beyond the capacity of the local body, municipalities. Hence, there has been a conglomeration made, which is a CAQM, which uh, which tries to coordinate, which tries to make a coordinated effort using both the regional, state level decision making processes and resources and the local uh, reach. And so CAQM, ideally it should be able to execute this smoothly, coordinate with authorities in different tiers and identify hotspots and take action and stuff. So that's about CAQM. It's an authority which coordinates with both the local authorities and the regional state level authorities. That's why it's NCR and adjoining areas. There's no one particular local body that's dealing with this. So the next thing we are looking at is political and crime accidents and stuff. Some statements by political people. I have been following all this, but I think we can ignore this to wrap this up quickly, right? Delhi severe for second day, and SC is going to hear some petition. So there has been a question asked in mains talking about SC's role in environmental jurisprudence. So this is here a stark an illustration of SC playing an important role, right? It is taking up PILs by people. So there is this GRAP, graded response action plan stage 3, which is activated. So we're not going to read all of this, just have an idea ki construction work, masonry, stone cutting, etc., cement plaster, waterproofing, most of these things are stopped because these release particulate matter which further deteriorate the air quality. And there have been bans on BS3 standard vehicles. Only the CNG, EVs and BS6 are allowed, and vehicles with registration from outside the state are also not allowed. We don't have to get into the rules here. All right. So what else is important? We're just going to go through. So classes have moved online in Delhi till 5th standard. Okay. So today is also Kartik Purnami and Guru Nanak Jayanti. All right. So now this is again political thing. Okay, Maharashtra elections are heating up, and there are statements being made from all sides. So here this is something new, and this is the state news. Chhattisgarh has been offering incentives to companies to hire Agniveers and former Maoists. So they are providing incentives to the private companies to hire people from these sections, and they'll be offering a 40% salary reimbursement from the government side to the company. I hope that's understandable. Now we have got to move on to further even more core political things, but we move on and move through. Now here are the articles, right? A bogey called infiltration. Now in this article, she's a Rajya Sabha MP. In this article, she has talked about the concept of outsiders and Ghuspaitiye, which is often used in the political rhetorics, which is being used in Jharkhand. So she talks about the NRC process in Assam. So there was a 5-year agitation. See, what happened is 1971. It was the peak when a lot of people from Bangladesh escaped and took refuge in parts of India, and mostly in Assam. All right. So the locals naturally had a problem, and there was a 5-year agitation by ASU, Assam Students Unions, and other groupings, political groupings. So by 1985, the Indian government and these ASU and the agitation people came to an agreement, and they decided that they would produce a list of citizens, a registered list of citizens, and so the refugees and the illegal immigrants, asylum seekers, many of them will be then deported or whatever has to be done by the government. So for this the NRC was exercised. The thing is, it didn't happen. I mean, till 2013 the exercise was still going on. 2005 it began perhaps, and 2013 Supreme Court took over the process so that it could be done in a fair method. And when the figures were released, about 40 lakh people were declared to be outsiders. And then again another list was released where 19 lakhs were. It was reduced to 19 lakhs, and then the government just disowned the NRC and didn't talk about it. It just stayed in the cold storage. And then, but whenever the elections come up, the NRC thing is brought up. Ghuspaitiya rhetoric is brought up. So also here is an important thing: the Citizenship Act 1955, Section 14A. So you have noted it down. So these are the little things that you note down for your value addition, a point of your own, right? That'll make your answer different from everybody else's. Citizenship Act 1955, Section 14A. This empowers the center to mandate citizen registry and also to issue national identity cards. So this power to conduct NRC is vested with the center by the Citizenship Act 1955. So what this article is particularly talking about is that like the NRC in Assam, which is just being used as a rhetoric and there's no action being taken, there's no substantial step being taken anymore, and actually the government has um, disowned the process itself and kind of wants the people to forget. So the same kind of rhetoric is being used in Jharkhand. A lot of push of the Guspeti rhetoric is being done. So devil wears Prada, not important for me. Severe again. So this is Delhi's situation and analysis of this, and we have actually discussed everything. I have actually gone through the paper entirely, studied everything, and then I'm discussing all parts of any topic together. So right, and we have talked about the Delhi CAQM thing. So a correction. So a correction, and this article here is India's market correction and China's subpar stimulus salvo. And this article here, 10% fall in last 7 weeks, market trajectory still cause of worry amid FPI sell-off. So what's been happening is the market is generally in the world falling down, in particularly in USA, and people are then taking off money. They're in need of money. So what is FPI sell-off? Is there are two kinds of investments. This is India, all right, and there are two kinds of overseas investments coming: FDI and FPI, right? So FDI is the investment which is done to get a stake in the management of the company. Also, it's like taking some part of the ownership of the company and also management, operations, etc. Right? FPI is generally less than 10% of a company's equity, and FPI is pretty volatile. It comes and it regularly goes. This cycle keeps happening. Whenever the market outside is better than what is happening in India, people pull out their money. They just mostly the problem with FPI in India is also that most of the FPI invested in India is pulled out after some profit is earned. It's not reinvested in the country. Mostly people are investing through FPIs to earn quick profits. That's it. So that's the problem. Our markets should be more attractive. We'll go deeper into these things in individual articles. We'll discuss most of what we can do. So this is Birsa Munda lives on. This is an article by Draupadi Murmuji, our president. So she invited representatives of the 75 PVTGs in the country to the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and she said they felt very proud to see her as representing them also. And there's talk about Bhagwan Birsa. He was also called as the Dharti Aba, all right. And the movement that he tried to create was called the Ulgulan. He was a 25-year-old, 1890s it was, and the movement he created was called Ulgulan, and this was also asked in prelims 1 year, and he was also called as the Dharti Aba, and this is 150th anniversary of Birsa Munda ji, right? So that's why it also becomes important for this prelims. So remember Birsa Munda. I've got to do some study about him, or if I do, I'll just share it with you here. All right. So This is something for Ratan Tata and his experiences with these premier colleges. Play in Pakistan cricket. So these are two opinions which are opposite to each other. In international relations, you can always mention the cricketing relation between India and Pakistan. You can say that, this person is saying that we should have sent our team to Pakistan to play the Champions Trophy 2025 in Pakistani soil because that weakens the terror, right? That sends a message and weakens the terror. That's what they say. And here, this person is saying ki while violence is happening on one front, we can't send our team to play cricket and behave like everything else is normal. So that's what our stand is, even with China. If there's violence, we don't participate in other activities like nothing has happened, right? You have to address the most important thing that is happening. Now COP29 has been going, but not going great actually, because Trump has arrived and there are very few heads of states in the meeting, in the conference. Modi is here in India, perhaps in Maharashtra campaigning, right? So Argentinian representatives have walked out of it, and French minister had some problem with the Baku head of state, perhaps some statement wars. So that's how it is turning out to be the meeting. After protests, there has been some jhol in the PCS prelim single gem. Yeah, I don't want to comment on it right now, but if you know what level of ghapla is going on in the country, everything. PM has, wow, I mean, our PM, independent candidate slapping SDM, and anticipatory bail plea has been dismissed. Anticipatory bail is when a person is applying for a bail at the court even before she has been arrested. When FIR and arrest warrant has been issued, so she's applying for bail even before she's arrested. That's what is anticipatory bail. And there have been questions being asked from this area of criminal jurisprudence also, the bail things and the parole and stuff. So Infosys prize has been won, probe against deficiencies. Now this one, we have something interesting here. So there have been some deficiencies in Ola Electric vehicles. So a complaint has been made to Central Consumer Protection Authority. All right. So there can be direct question asked on these, either in mains or prelims. So Central Consumer Protection Authority, right? This is a consumer watchdog, and the complaint has been made to Ola Electric, and now CCPA has asked the BIS. BIS also works under the same Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So BIS to investigate the matter. Bureau of Indian Standards is going to investigate the matter under the order of CCPA. So you just have an idea of how things happen. You don't have to ratify these things. These things will come again and again. You just have to, know what are the things you need to put in your head or extract from any article. Alright. PMJ beneficiaries death case, the cardiologist arrested. There's another insurgent group in Meghalaya, which is called, I can't pronounce it, Hinevtrip National Liberation Council. So it has been involved in some violent activities, and it has been banned in Meghalaya now. So there's something going on in Meghalaya also, and you should have all of this information in your mind peripherally, at least. So this is some PMLA case. We'll go deeper into the PMLA law. All right. Now Indian markets correction, we have seen a glimpse of it. We'll talk about other things right now. The climate change and trade. Yeah, so there's a new term called climate change related trade policy. So what basically is happening is that climate change is now being used to drive the trade policy. Like you have known the European Union's CBAM. It's the carbon border adjustment mechanism, which means within Europe there are certain standards, right, for the industries, within which if they emit, it's okay, right? And from other countries, wherever manufacturing is happening, if they are flouting this European standards, whatever the gap is, Europeans will extract a tax equivalent to that gap if the product is being exported to Europe from outside. So by doing that, they're also increasing the prices, increasing the cost of buying products from outside. So thus decreasing the export attractiveness, the trade benefits for the developing countries, and many countries which do not have the sufficient technology or the money to, to maintain and attain those standards. So in this way, this is called climate change related trade policy, CBAM, and there has been a recent forest deforestation related taxation also. And EU is leading the way. So India and China have been opposing this kind of trade policy, which in their opinion is harming the developing nations. Right. Now this is something you can use in governance or in ethics. Australia is planning a law, is drafting a law to keep the teenagers till perhaps 16, and there's a graded thing from 14. Uh, the children broadly under 16 will not be allowed to get their Facebook, Instagram, Twitter accounts, and this law then directs these large social media intermediaries to verify the identity and age of the people trying to register, and not allow the teenagers to. And that in a way, you know how it helps actually. And kids even under 10 are now using Instagram and stuff. The kind of exposure they have without much wisdom can perhaps affect them in the early ages of growth. Now there's a T20 match today, and here Arjun Erigasi has lost to Carlson. This is Yamuna Expressway. So economy is sailing smoothly. So there's a debate here. Mr. Shaktikant Das is trying to avoid reducing the interest rates because the inflation is still going on, right? And here our Union Minister Piyush Goyal is urging RBI to cut the rates and look through food prices. What does it mean to look through food prices? It means to ignore food prices. I mean, there's a food inflation right now going on, and there was a question asked on food inflation this mains also, and I was so ready with every data, but yeah, whatever. So Piyush Goyal, the ministry wants economic growth. For economic growth to happen, there needs to be more money, right? So, and this money has to be supplied by the banks, right, as loans. So if more loans have to be taken by the people, the companies, for the economic growth, the banks have to reduce the interest rates. That's the case. So that's what our minister is saying. But the other thing is, if you reduce the interest rates and there's a lot of money here, so there's a lot of demand for the goods, and because of the demand, the prices of goods rises and the inflation rises. So, and on the other hand, what is happening is food prices have gone really up. Because of food inflation, RBI is not ready to decrease the rates, because there will be further inflation in other things also. It is trying to in the situation that we are in, it is trying to be prudent. But Piyush Goyal ji opines that food inflation in particular is caused by supply issues. like there's lack of rainfall, excess rainfall, something, supply issues, but not demand issues, right? It's not because of demand that the food inflation is. Zyada log nahi aage, they're not more mouths to feed or more hungry people. That's not the case. But there's supply crunch. That is why there's food inflation. So when the demand is not the issue, then you can definitely decrease interest rates, because if the inflation is because of a demand high, then decreasing the rate would further increase it. But that's what these policymakers, they just try to push their ideas. And we'll see. Mr. Shakti Kanta Das also has a strong opinion about this. So this is the tussle, and you can actually mention this whenever there is chance. This kind of stuff impresses people when you have such understanding or comparison of both things, and you particularly talk about full food inflation, which is generally there. And so here this is talking about our exports. So Christmas season is beginning in the West, and that has given a boost to Indian exports. All right. So so also there's another thing ki lately the West, the USA, Canada, and Guyana, these areas also have been generating, and also Brazil have been producing oil. All right, it's not the Middle East only which is producing oil. So lately the Western countries have started producing more oil, and because of more oil, there'll be more availability of oil in the world, and the rates will go down. That's what India expects, right? For the prices to ease, and India also believes that Trump's return will further improve oil availability and Western oil production. And here is a fact: India is the world's third largest consumer of crude oil. All right. So what's next? So here's just a small thing. India's trade deficit is because of the oil imports and gold imports, and there's some reduction in the deficit because of merchandise exports. So we have finished out a round of the newspaper today, and this is how we are going to do it every day, right? At least so that we know what's in the paper and what are the things broadly happening, and we'll also extract some. So that's it from today's paper, right? Wish you a very good, happy, and blessed Guru Nanak Jayanti and Kartik Purnima. So the Notre Dame has also opened up. There's still more to it. I'm sorry I had missed this page. There's just one more page here, which is the world. Now, whatever is happening in the world, we are going to just have a look in a map. All right. Sri Lanka. What's happening in Sri Lanka is recently the presidential elections were done. Now what happens in Sri Lanka is that there's a power sharing between the president and the prime minister. All right, and prime minister plus the cabinet is responsible to the legislature, the parliament, and president is directly elected. The difference between Indian and Sri Lankan system is president is directly elected and has lots of powers, right? And the prime minister and the cabinet mostly behaves as the implementation body for the president's decisions, right? So there's this one page that we have missed, and so here the Notre Dame is ready to welcome back the world. Notre Dame was, you must have heard of the cathedral in Paris that was, a light in fire that had caught fire. It was an old building, and there were efforts to preserve it, restore it, and stuff. So now it has come back to welcome visitors again after 5 years. So that's the news. And there's uh, there's an explosion in Brazil, and this happens just 5 days before the visit of Xi, and also this G20 summit going to happen in Brazil. And so this is here in the news. And here what's happening in the Middle East is that Lebanese officials have said that Hezbollah is ready to make a truce with the Israeli armed forces, a truce. And this has been the closest Hezbollah has ever been ready to make a truce with the Israeli armed forces. So that's a good sign. But there are lots of conditions and stuff they are negotiating. Israel wants Lebanon to act against Hezbollah within its own boundaries, but Lebanese do not entertain this. And here's the thing with the Maori, like the British people having pact with Nepal, the Sagoli agreement, which led to disagreement between India and Nepal after so many years. British had so many agreements with the local people, local native rulers and stuff. So this was such another agreement British had made with the Maori people in New Zealand. And now there's a right wing Act New Zealand party which is trying to reinterpret this Maori agreement. Maoris constitute 20% of the population in New Zealand. So there are these Maori protests, and within the parliament also they're doing the haka to protest. And for those who do not know haka is the war cry of Maoris. And you see that most commonly while playing the rugby game. And the teams, the either teams, they perform their hakas to as a symbol of their aggressive expression. So that's a Maori dance, a very aggressive dance. So people are doing that in New Zealand Parliament. And here's the Sri Lanka thing. We just have gone through this thing. And here's the AG appointee in the US Senate is a staunch right-wing speaker. So that is, alarming the Democrats. While Republicans have successfully taken the stronghold in the Senate, Democrats have been, sounding alarm over these things. So this is all about the glance through today's newspaper, and we have extracted a few things, very few things. Also, I'll be discussing more articles, direct articles from Down to Earth, and they'll be in much detail. I've understood that my previous videos, where I was almost reading line by line everything, it was difficult to follow. I mean, even I would not have been interested to watch somebody, read something out for me. I was just experimenting, and now I understood that's not the way to go. I'm going to finish the entire newspaper or the article and then extract my own little notes like these, and just talk about for the newspaper. At least I will just glance through it and talk about various things. But when we do singular articles or topics, we are going to go into detail. And so we have begun the preparation now for the coming round, right? So this is the Sri Lanka thing. The cabinet being responsible to the parliament, 225-member parliament. The elections are going to happen for the parliament, and the president is elected to direct vote, and this is proportional representation here. So there have been efforts. The recent constitutional reforms have been, been pushed in Sri Lanka to curb the powers of the president a bit, because there's a conflict between president and prime minister constantly going on and paralyzing the polity. Right. So this is the newspaper, quick for you in a quick glance, and we'll do the same thing almost every day. And we'll also discuss articles that we find as we gather pace from Down to Earth and Mint and all the stuff that we can, and also talk about other interesting stuff. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching it through, whoever has.